Hey there, and welcome to the HomeTech 2016 election coverage special. Jason Griffin here. What do you think, Seth? What do you think?
You can't do it.
Let's stick to home technology.
Yeah, let's definitely stick to home technology.
At least it's over, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, we were just looking through like, what are we going to talk about this week? And there's been no news, so
wonder why.
I wonder why. Yeah.
Well, we do have a great show, though. We had Ram on from Securifi to talk about the Almond family of routers. And Seth, this was a story that you kind of drummed up out at CEDIA. And I know Securifi, our listeners to our show, and anyone who follows home technology will be very familiar. They've been around for quite a while. We're really taking a fresh approach to Wi-Fi before that became like the in thing to do. We've joked about that, and it's really become a hot category. But these guys have been at it for quite a while, and really enjoyed our conversation with Ram. The Almond 3, which is their latest generation of product, is very impressive. I was telling Ram off the air that I just hadn't taken the time to really get myself familiar with what they were doing lately. And I have to say, as I was getting prepped for the show, I was really impressed. They've managed to put together a very compelling feature set at a really nice price point.
Yeah, you get a lot for what you pay for. And if you look at the price points that he's selling the routers at, if you're looking to get into home automation, I mean, some of the it's a no-brainer. I mean, it really is. It's a very inexpensive way to get started with Z-Wave and Zigbee contact sensors and lighting devices and Nest and Echo. I mean, it's just it's a great starting point. And to top it all off, it's a piece that you already need in your house, right? Like, you need the router anyway. This just has the added bonus of being a home technology hub.
Yeah, it's got that built-in smart home hub. So very cool. Well, we won't go into it too much more because obviously we've got a full-length interview that dives into that in great detail. So definitely be sure to stay tuned for that. It was a really great conversation. As usual, we're going to touch on a few news stories. It was a slow news week, so we're going to move in and out of those pretty quick. But before we jump into that, we want to give a quick shout out to Mike Crane. Mike came on as a patron at the $5 level this week. And Mike, we really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much for taking the time and for the generous contribution to the show. If you're listening and you're not familiar with what that means to become a patron, you want to learn more, head on over to HomeTech.fm.
Jason, you've got breaking news here.
Oh my God, what just happened?
This is a key patron matrix level thing. We've got to take a look at this. Go to the map. If you head on over to our patron page, you will see that we are too close to call in our first goal. We're getting close, man.
Oh no, it's the Home Tech election special.
So we've got 120 out of 150. We're trying to get up to the 150. We're going to do the live show.
We're getting close.
Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that out there. We're getting super close. We've had a couple of people come on in the last couple of weeks, like Mike this week, and just edged us closer to that goal of hitting 150. And we're super excited about that. I can't wait to. If you think we have fun here on the show, wait till you hear what's going on before we start recording. It gets kind of crazy.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I'm a little scared about that. And man, that music, Seth, just about blew me out of my headphones. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, once again, that URL is HomeTech.fm/support. And thanks again, Mike. We really do appreciate it. So with that, let's jump into our news here before we get into our interview with Ram from Securifi. First story that we want to touch on, really, really heavy-hitting news here, Seth. A man has hacked Alexa and converted it into a singing fish.
This is beautiful.
It's brilliant.
Oh my gosh.
This is so smart.
Yeah. This is what America needs right now, is a singing big bass fish converted into an Amazon Echo. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. We will include a link to the video in the show notes. If you have not seen this, please take your time, stop what you're doing, put your children down, and bring them around because this is great, and let them watch the big mouth fish that is supposed to be singing songs actually speak the words and in the voice of Alexa. It's just beautiful. Just beautiful.
What a great conversation starter this thing would be. I think this would sell like crazy if he was able to. I don't know how that would work with licensing or whatever, but get something like this to the market. It's that People will probably be familiar with this. It's Big Mouth Billy Bass is what this was, and this was a hit, like novelty gift from years ago.
Right.
It was like that little thing, and it's like a wall mounted, looks like a largemouth bass, and you could push a button and it would sing, I think, "Take Me to the River," and there was one other song or something, and it was really a big hit for a while. And this guy hacked it together with an Amazon Echo somehow and made it respond to the voice. And it's just so funny. I lost it when he woke the fish up and the fish turns its head towards the camera and responds. It just is, that's classic. So smart. Love this.
So good. So good. So yeah, go check this out. This is great. I will fully endorse this as this Amazon Alexa Big Mouth Billy Bass fish as the product of the year. This is great. This is absolutely great.
I really do. I don't know. Do you disagree? I think that something like this, it gives a little personality, right, to the Amazon Echo.
Oh, yeah.
It's no longer just this little box on your countertop, and it becomes kind of gives it some personality, makes it a conversation piece. It's just great. So
it would be awesome if Amazon did sell this on their website. I mean, people would pay good money for this licensing.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah. I would pay for it.
So anyways, not much more we can say about that. Definitely, like Seth said, head on over to HomeTech if you want to see that. We'll include it in the show notes over there. HomeTech.fm/136 will get you to that. Moving on to the second story, Seth. This is one that you found, Sunflower Labs. And, you pointed me to the video. Another one, this is another video I'd encourage people to go check out. And you kind of watch the video. And at first it looks like you're just looking at what is, in essence, like a smart landscape light. Pokes into the ground, looks like a landscape light, has some sensors built into it.
Yeah, it's got some smarts built into it, right? Like if people walk next to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get to the kicker, right? Deploy the drones.
This is amazing. So, yeah, this is it looks like little landscape lights, and you plug them in around your house, and I guess they detect if somebody is walking nearby. I don't know if it's like ground movement or motion detection, but if they detect someone and you're not sure who it is, there's a drone that goes along with it, and like a wild bumblebee, it will fly over and identify who is there.
Yeah, they haven't put tasers on it yet, but I think it's on their roadmap.
And make it a true security solution.
This is great. You can't make this stuff up. I thought when I started watching the video that it was going to be like you'd get that motion notification on your phone, and you'd maybe just have to go check like a third-party camera or something and check it out. That it'd be kind of a cool idea, I guess. I'm sure this is out there where you get a notification and you can actually be aware of somebody coming onto the property. But man, that drone, that is classic.
What will they think of next? What they should do is hang the big mouth Billy Bass from the drone.
Who goes there?
Oh man,
I can't tell if this thing is for real. It looks like it's reserve yours today at the bottom of the site. So there's a place where you can, looks like it pre-order. So I don't know, who knows if this thing will ever get out to the market as a real product, but somebody was really thinking pretty hard about this.
It's entertaining, and that's what we're here for.
Without question. Well, let's move on. We got one more story here before we're going to jump into our interview. And this one actually is a more serious story, and it's one that has the theme of it anyways has become a recurring topic here in the last number of weeks, and really has to do with network security. IHG, very big player in the remote systems monitoring space, recently did a survey where they found out that 40% of integrators' installations had at least one open port on the network. And I know, Seth, just how happy it made you to hear that.
Oh, man. It made me
throw up in your mouth a little bit.
Yeah, throw up in my mouth a little bit. And yeah. So what this means to me is there's 40% of these jobs that dealers have installed that are installed incorrectly. That's not good. That's not good, guys.
Yeah.
You can't be opening ports on a router and have them going in to who knows what. They said there was 22% of them that had an insecure port 80, which is the web traffic, open, and 15% of all Crestron systems had 2 wide open ports.
Yeah. Wow.
Just not good security practice. We've got to move away from this mindset. We absolutely have to do it.
Yeah, and it's the article quoted Stuart Wrench over there from IHG, and he said unfortunately a lot of integrators have been coached in these sort of bad practices, and I think that's true. I'm curious, Seth, because I'm not the most technical guy now. I've kind of phased out of that side of the business, and it's been a while since I did it, but there were a number of years where I was doing some network deployment and as a programmer and all that, and there were situations where we were opening ports, and this was years ago, and it just never really was taught to me that was a bad security practice. I mean, I always kind of knew just inherently by opening a port that seemed a little bit weird to me, but is this something that you feel like used to maybe be more of a common practice, like we didn't know any better as an industry and now we should, or has this just always been bad and I was just out there completely doing it wrong?
I'm gonna be nice and say a little bit of both. It's always been a bad.
It's okay. You can tell me that I was just doing it wrong.
Well, it's always been a bad practice to do port forwarding. It's even worse to do the DMZ, which basically opens whatever IP address completely open to the wild internet, and bypasses the firewall. But our manufacturers for so long have told us. I'm thinking about these Crestron systems here, where they have 2 wide open ports. I mean, one of those could be for cameras, for a camera system. Now, while initially that may not seem like a bad idea, given the last couple of months worth of news, it seems like more of a big deal now. And when you install these systems, you are relying on the manufacturers to have installed and set up their equipment with security in mind. And the truth is, they may not have. You are installing a piece of equipment that probably will not see any updates. We know now that there have been some pretty significant flaws in Linux for the past decade that basically allow any Linux system to be hacked. I mean, these things are out there. They're coming out almost daily, weekly, monthly. That these are major flaws within like the core kernel of Linux, which a lot of these NVRs are based on. So if you've got an old NVR sitting out at somebody's house or an old piece of equipment that has a port forwarded to it, it may have been all right 5 years ago when you put it in, but now with this new exploits that have been coming out, it may need to be updated, and you may not have any way of doing that. So really, I mean, it comes down to this. I think we have to start demanding that our manufacturers supply us with products that do not require port forwarding, that follow best practices when you're hooking up to a network. And
yeah, I agree. Go ahead.
Well, I think that's really the only way that this is going to happen, because honestly, dealers probably don't care. What they want is to get paid. Customers don't care. They want their products to go in. But we're all going to have a problem when a network gets compromised and somebody's credit cards and financial information goes out, or somebody's camera system gets opened up to the wide web. And that's just not going to be a good day for anybody. So I think it really starts with us demanding that the products that we use, a lot of these DIY products that have come out, Nest, Ring, Dropcam, they don't set up where you need to do port forwarding to get them out. They set up completely different, and they're pretty good products. But the products that we've been using traditionally, there's been no demand from us to have them do point-to-point video and be completely secure. There's no demand from them to have remote access into a home automation system without doing port forwarding. I know Control4 has thought about that because that's what they sell. They sell a extremely secure VPN that goes from your phone to the servers in Salt Lake and then down to your house. to get you on and talking to your system. But there's a lot of other companies. I go through the trainings and they're just like, oh, you open up this port and that gets you remote access. And I just shake my head every time that happens, because it's a security hole. It really is. We've got to demand that this stuff not happen from our manufacturers that we putting in product from.
Yeah. I think that obviously the integrators have to ultimately bear the responsibility for their clients and make decisions. But I agree with you. I think a lot of the responsibility does lie in the manufacturers, because, let's be honest, when I was out doing more of these networks myself in the field, it was at an earlier time in my career where I was still learning. And I wasn't just going out there and opening ports for fun, right? Like, I was always doing this at the specific direction of a manufacturer who said, to get this feature working on our DVR, you have to forward port 80, blah, blah, blah. And I was literally like following the steps on the manufacturer's instructions. And so for the uninitiated, which I was at the time, you assume that the manufacturers have thought about security. And if they're telling you to do X, Y, or Z, that's got to be okay. And so I think, that the manufacturers do bear a lot of responsibility in this. And I think as home technology professionals, you're right, we have the responsibility to put that pressure on them.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, yeah, speaking of networks, let's go ahead and jump into our interview here. We had Rammohan Malasani on once again from Securifi. And Ram joined us to talk about all about the Almond family of routers. Really great conversation, really cool product. So I enjoyed chatting with Ram. And let's go ahead and jump into that. Hey, Ram, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, we really appreciate you taking the time, and when we look forward to our conversation, we're going to dive in and we're going to talk about Securifi, the company, obviously, and focus mostly on the Almond family of products, and particularly the new Almond 3. But before we jump into that, why don't you give our listeners just a brief personal introduction?
Sure. So I'm the founder and CEO of Securifi, the maker of Almond routers. And prior to that, I'd been in the Wi-Fi industry for a long time. Actually, I'm one of the co-founders of Ubiquiti Networks, which makes enterprise Wi-Fi and now consumer devices. And before that, I worked at a startup. And my current job is being the founder and CEO of Securifi.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't realize there was a connection there with Ubiquiti. I know a lot of our listeners are familiar with that line, and I'm sure you got a lot of great experience there. And I know, I've followed the Almond family of routers and Securifi for some time. You guys have been doing this for a little bit. When were you founded?
So we were founded in 2011. We started shipping the first version of the Almond in 2012.
Okay, great. Well, let's just jump right in here and get started. Give us the quick elevator pitch. What is the Almond family of routers really all about?
So Almond family of routers is all about simplifying router setup and making them less intimidating. And it's interesting for us because we've been screaming and shouting about this idea that routers should be simple to set up. And we do it by having a touchscreen integrated on the router itself. We've been talking about this since 2011, 2012. And, in the last 1 year or 1.5 years, there has been just so many new companies. And we felt as if like Silicon Valley just woke up last year, about something we've been screaming and shouting for the past 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I've kind of noticed that too. It's something that, we in the custom install industry have been preaching for a long time. Networks are very important, but with the networks that we're setting up, they are, I'm just going to kind of steal your line here. They're definitely not made for humans. And the Almond, I think your tagline is routers for humans, which is totally appropriate. It looks like your idea is to make these routers easy to set up and use and make them secure. And you do that by including a little small touchscreen on the front of the router. Where did this idea come from?
Sure. And our routers do some pretty cool advanced stuff. But I'll answer the question about where the idea came from. like I said, I'd been in the Wi-Fi space before 2011 for already about 6, 7 years. And, over the years, I've had my own issues with my home router. I was using one of those brands, whether it was Netgear or Linksys. I think it usually was one of those two. And there was even one time when I had to help my landlord with her Wi-Fi. It was a really simple thing. She was just trying to get one more device connected, but she forgot the password. That very simple stuff. And it took me like 30 to 40 minutes. And I realized, wow, I'm supposed to be the expert at this stuff, right? And it takes me this long to do something so simple with the router. Just imagine the plight of regular consumers. So this was in 2011. I thought, hey, why not put a touchscreen on the router itself? And luckily, timing-wise, that was the time when Android phones started becoming popular. So, screen LCD prices started coming down pretty rapidly. So that was good timing-wise. Yeah, that was kind of the idea of putting a screen on the router.
Very cool. Yeah, and it's I have one of the Ubiquiti amplifiers here. I'm trying to take a look at it and kind of review it. I know you mentioned Ubiquiti a minute ago, but I find I haven't used an Almond, but now I'm all for this having the touchscreen, even for the most basic things, on the front of the router is amazing to have. I mean, it really does help. Ubiquiti does not do what you're doing with your routers, with all the advanced things that you can get into and settings you can look at and change. But even having just the most minimal display is certainly helpful when it comes to setting up what is arguably one of the more complicated pieces of the networking inside of someone's home. So I'm glad you're out there making it easy for people to get these types of devices set up and securely set up. That's kind of a big thing with me right now. Make sure that they're securely set up and working. Let's talk a little bit about the Almond 3 system. Like what hardware are we looking at? What software and what are the pricing? I noticed you have a couple different boxes on the website here.
Sure. So the first Almond that was launched in 2012, it was a router with a great touchscreen interface. And very quickly, we realized routers are actually the perfect place to integrate smart home hub capability for the mainstream market. Now I understand in a highly specific custom installation that could be different. We realized for the mass market, that's the right approach. So our second-gen products, Almond Plus and Almond 2015, were not only great routers, but also had smart home hub built in. Almond 3 is actually our third generation product. So it's a great, easy to set up router. It's got smart home hub built in. So we have Zigbee built in. And it also supports mesh Wi-Fi capability. So when you have a few of these units, they talk to each other either through a wire or, if you don't have wired infrastructure, wirelessly, and give coverage throughout your home. And it also has another really interesting thing. It has a built-in programmable siren. You could use that for a security siren or door chime, lots of applications for it. So that's the product. The way, we're selling it as a solo unit or a bundle. Currently, they're on pre-order. They're available for discount, actually, for not too much longer, because we are going on sale. I guess we'll start shipping next week. So right now, the solo single unit is going for $120, and the pack of 3 is going for $299. And from next week, solo unit will go for $149, and then a pack of 3 will go for $399.
Very cool. So that was actually going to be one of my questions is when you guys are shipping, and so that's right around the corner, yeah?
Yep. We actually just shipped, started shipping, so
Great.
they're all in transit, basically.
Very cool. And so we've talked about the touch screen a lot, presumably, and maybe I'm wrong, but presumably there's some sort of app as well that you can use to possibly configure and look at some diagnostics and stuff. Is that correct? And if so, is it on iOS and Android?
Absolutely, yeah. The way we think about it is touchscreen. It's a great for setup, and it's also a great way to debug things when things go wrong. Suddenly if internet's not connecting or some other problem, you can go look at it on the screen. Sometimes maybe your cables got disconnected. So things like this, the screen will tell you through status, which is nice. And in our experience, it also makes it less intimidating. But we don't think the touchscreen is a great day-to-day interface to control or monitor what's going on the network. So we have an iOS and Android apps to do that. And they're pretty feature-packed today. Like there are a ton of things you can do in those apps currently.
Great. And you alluded to this, obviously, early in the interview, as well as just a moment ago, that this Almond 3 is a mesh Wi-Fi system, and we're seeing a lot of those come to market lately. That seems to be a really hot category now, and for good reason. How many Almond 3s, is there a limit to how many of those that a user can deploy in a single home?
That's a really good question. So there is no limit to that, but we have a limit for the number of wireless hops you can have. We are allowing up to 2 hops. So beyond that, we've seen some degradation in the latencies, but we're still working on improving that. So we may change that later. You know what a wireless hop means. Do you know what a wireless hop means?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So we're up to 2 hops. So we think, based on our testing with a lot of users, it will suffice for most consumers. And if you're connecting through wired infrastructure, you can, I believe, go up to 10 or more than that. We've tested more than 10.
Very cool. That's really good. You kind of touched on it a little bit, and let's walk through getting an Almond out of the box and set up. What does that process look like?
So right out of the box, you do the initial setup through the touchscreen, and the screen guides you through the process of how you want to use it, whether you want to use it as a mesh system or you just want to use it as a router or an AP or even a range extender. It's all done initially through the touchscreen. Once the touchscreen setup is done, now if you want to create a mesh system, you can continue doing it through the screen, but at that point, you can start using the mobile app to add more units to the system and configure it. So, and this whole process, even those options, it's a fully guided, we have a fully guided wizard on the touchscreen that just goes step by step and just basically walks you through the whole process.
Very nice. And I know we talked about this too. There's a smart home built into this. Can you set that up from the touchscreen too, or is that something that you would set up from the app?
Yeah, so the smart home, I assume you're asking about maybe the pairing stuff or creating. So that's a bigger, longer question, I guess.
Okay.
Because there are a couple of things here, right? So one is, how do you pair devices? And second is, how do you do things like automations, rules, and scenes? So currently, the pairing has to happen from the touchscreen. We have plans to bring pairing to the mobile app as well. So, whether it's Zigbee device or Z-Wave device, you go into add a device on the screen, and then usually for these devices, I guess there is a button or some mechanism to put them in pairing mode. So that's how it works with Zigbee Z-Wave. Nest is a little bit different because we work with Nest and a couple other IP-based devices. Some of those are device-specific pairing process where you have to link one account, our cloud account, to their account. But once the pairing is done, assuming it's done whether through LCD or through cloud-to-cloud pairing with Nest, that is done through a browser, the control is all on the mobile app, whether you want to create scenes or whether you want to create rules. Now you can do these on we still have a browser interface to access the router. When you're on the local network, you can continue doing those using that to control, or you could just do it on the mobile app, which we think is the easiest way.
Nice. And you've talked about Nest, but what types of devices, like what types of Zigbee devices and other devices do you see people setting up with the Almond?
Yeah, I think the most popular device types that we have seen, and we've had a smart home offering basically since 2014. I mean, Almond Plus was announced in 2013, started shipping in 2014. What we have seen in the last two plus years is the single most popular devices are lights, whether it's the GE Link bulbs or the Philips Hue bulbs or like a smart plug connected to a light. That seems to be the most popular. And then we have seen a lot of thermostats, maybe actually more than thermostats. Number two might actually be door sensors. Number three, motion detectors, I think. And then somewhere further down come up thermostats, door locks, garage door openers. So, I mean, we support like 100 plus devices today. You can go to securify.com/sensors to see all the compatible sensors. But yeah, those are the most popular ones that I can remember now.
Very cool. And I just want to make sure we touch on this. It's been weaved in there a little bit, but as far as communication protocols, I know you mentioned Zigbee. You also mentioned Z-Wave. Does Z-Wave require any sort of external, maybe like a USB dongle or bridge or anything like that, or is that built right into the hub?
Yeah, so in Almond 3, Zigbee is built in. Z-Wave does require an external dongle that we sell ourselves for about $30. In our second gen product, Almond Plus, we did have Zigbee and Z-Wave all in one. But, we had some issues because when you're going international, Z-Wave has different frequencies in different countries. And
got it.
It was complicating a lot of things for us. So we decided to separate it out.
That makes sense. Also, I think if I recall correctly, I saw Bluetooth on the website. Are you guys supporting Bluetooth?
Yeah, we have not yet. We have Bluetooth on our roadmap. So far we haven't seen a lot of interesting stuff in the smart home space when it comes to Bluetooth, except perhaps door locks and some light bulbs now. But we think, Bluetooth could become interesting as a smart home. I guess for smart home devices, maybe sometime next year. So our plan is to again support it through using a USB dongle initially, and perhaps in the future we might just integrate it in our future versions of Almond.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Bluetooth. It's one of those protocols that we seem to be hearing more and more about, and it seems to have some buzz behind it and some momentum. But right now, we just don't see a ton of practical applications out there in the field. But I think it's definitely coming, and so definitely smart to have that on your roadmap. I want to focus here on what I think is a very interesting inclusion in the product line, and clever and presumably appeals to a lot of buyers, is that ability that you alluded to use the Almond 3 as a security system. So it's got that built-in siren that you alluded to, and then I guess you're able to tie this into various sensors, right? Presumably door contacts, window contacts, that sort of thing. Give us an overview of what that looks like.
Yeah, sure. We have a very programmable rules interface where you can tie all these devices together, whether door sensors, motion detectors, lights, thermostats with sirens. So that was one of the reasons for including a siren. Is we saw that security is is maybe the biggest application, maybe number two after lighting from our existing customers. So we thought by having that siren, and in fact, if you have a mesh, you basically end up getting 3 sirens, right? So, which is nice. So by having that built in, so it's just one less thing that you have to purchase. And we just decided to do one other interesting thing since we last met at Cydia, which is in the bundle, 3-pack bundle, we decided to just give a free door sensor for that same $399 or $299, because it's a way for us to just introduce the capabilities of what we can do. So with that bundle, you basically have a very pretty decent DIY home security system. You got a door sensor, you got 3 sirens, and of course you can keep adding more door sensors or motion detectors or flood sensors or even lights and anything to expand the system. So you can create rules where, when you're away, if your door opens, then, ring all these sirens. So, and that's, we have a really nice interface to do that. I think I think you've seen it at Cydia. Our customers really love the way we have done the rules interface, where you can have multiple conditions and multiple actions. This is something that you would only see in very high-end systems before. The way we have done it,
Right.
it's something our customers really love.
Yeah, no, it sounds great. And so presumably, obviously, you've got the siren there. Also, push notifications, I would assume. So if my door opens, I can get a notification on my phone.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have push notifications. And we even, one of the really neat things we do, and we were the first to do this, is we use your Wi-Fi clients as presence signals. And that's great for multiple reasons, because then you don't have to carry key fobs anymore. And you do not have to turn on GPS on your phone, because that's how a lot of the smart home systems figure out today whether you're home or not. And GPS is a big battery drain on your phone. And that's the last thing you want on your smartphone, because already battery tends to be bad enough on most
Right.
phones. So, and because we just, it works incredibly fast, especially when devices join the network. It's near instantaneous. It's 1 to 2 seconds. When they leave, it's about 5 to 6 minutes, because we have to do a timeout there. Because the way battery operated devices work is, even when you're home, they connect to the network, they disconnect for a while, and then they connect. So we optimize that, and we've figured out like about 5 minutes. If it's no connection, no activity for a couple of minutes, then we know it's not on the network. But this is, again, has been incredibly popular feature for multiple reasons. One which I've already given, which is you don't need to turn on GPS on the phone. The second is not everyone in the home needs to install the app. That's the other thing we found. When you use any other app which use GPS-based presence, all the apps, everyone's apps at home, everyone's phones need to have the app, because you need to monitor GPS individually on each phone. But here, because it's a router plus smart home hub, router just knows when these devices join and leave the network, and you just need one phone at home to have the app.
Right. Yeah, that's smart. Are there any monthly monitoring charges for this, or is it exclusively a self-monitoring solution?
So right now it's exclusively self-monitoring. We are looking into providing like the whole, calling cops, calling the fire department. Maybe that'll happen next year. But the self-monitoring piece, it's free.
Nice, very nice. That's always good. It sounds like you can really put together a powerful home automation system with the package that you were talking about. I mean, there's a lot you could do with a couple of sensors, occupancy sensors, and maybe a light dimmer or two. There's a whole lot of little fun things that you can do. I noticed when I was looking on the website, you had Amazon Echo integration listed. What's that look like these days?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's become table stakes in a way in the smart home space, the Echo integration. So it's like the novelty is really worn off. But what we see is voice is a far superior interface for smart home devices compared to apps, especially when you're at home, which is 80-90% of the time in terms of usage of how you're interacting with these lights or thermostats. So voice is really compelling. So we do the Alexa native lighting and thermostat API. So any lights that are on the Almond system or thermostats, once you link it to your Alexa account and Almond account, they're discovered, and you can do that. So that's just like any other native smart home platform that works on Alexa. On top of that, we have a custom skill also on Alexa that does, you can do home and away modes, you can do scenes. And we were the first to integrate Wi-Fi controls through Alexa. So for example, you can do something like Alexa, disable kids' internet.
Oh, nice.
So you can also do something like Alexa, enable guest Wi-Fi, disable guest Wi-Fi. So we basically, we're big fans of voice. I think we think voice is just such a great interface when you're at home, much, much better than, finding your phone and like finding the app and fiddling with the app when you are at home in many situations.
Very cool. Well, I wouldn't be an integrator if I didn't ask. What's your third-party integration look like? Do you have an API or a way to interface directly with the Almond 3?
So it's a good question. We are not there at the API level with the third-party integrations. A lot of the integration with Zigbee and Z-Wave, we tried to be very compatible, strictly compatible with standards. So a lot of Zigbee Z-Wave devices, we didn't even have to do any custom integration work. As long as if it's Zigbee HA 1.2, it just 99% of the time it just works. So with Z-Wave, it's even simpler. Most of the time it just works. With IP devices, most of the integration work has been done by us, Securifi engineers, like when we did the integration with the Nest thermostat or Amazon Echo or even Philips Hue. We have plans of opening it up. We have a local interface API available through which other devices can control Almond on the local network. So we have a local WebSockets interface to do that, even without going through our cloud. But we haven't provided an API to do something the other way around, which is, can you put a module on Almond so it can talk to some other device? So this has been on our roadmap. I think I don't know exactly when we will have it, but I know we will have it at some point. Some of the, we have a lot of tinkerers because we had a Kickstarter project with Almond Plus, and some of them actually use the WebSockets interface in their home, in their networks, where they're controlling the Almond Plus and the connected sensors through other devices at home, whether it's a PC or some server or something they've written themselves.
Right. Very cool. Well, I got to say, this is a very compelling feature set you guys have put together. I've really enjoyed. We're running a little tight on our time here, and I want to zoom out, and we'll start to wind down here. I want to zoom out and look at the big picture and circle back to something you alluded to at the very beginning of our conversation here, and that is the proliferation, the trend we're seeing with Wi-Fi systems hitting the market left and right. It's become a very hot category, and I know this is a big question, but just give me your general thoughts on how you see that having an impact on Almond and Securifi, and what your plan is to continue differentiating in the face of this increased competition.
Yeah, I think it's, like I said, the industry seemed to have woken up, especially in Silicon Valley and Bay Area in the last year or year and a half. And we think today already mesh Wi-Fi is becoming table stakes. If you want to be known as a modern router, that's just what you have to do at the minimum. So we think at that level, no one's going to have any differentiation. We think our smart home strategy really gives us differentiation compared to everyone else, and also the types of integrations we are doing with voice, and not to mention hundreds of smart home devices that we work with. We were actually the first to come up with this idea that smart home router should be integrated, and Google supposedly had a Zigbee radio in their on hub, but I don't think they've put out any real software to enable that. So we have a big lead on this. We think this is probably our biggest differentiation today, and the price points that we do with like the type of features we are giving, I don't think anyone else comes close on that front.
Yeah, I've got to agree. It's certainly a big thing and a small package. I mean, it's a very nice set of features that one device can cover for you. So really happy to see, really happy to have you on the show and talk about this a little bit, because we've been meaning to have you on for quite a while, and you spent some time with me talking and walking me through the product at CEDIA, which we had a real good time talking there. What's next? What's next for the team there at Securifi? What are you guys working on these days?
So we'll obviously keep doing more on the integrations and more on bring out more capabilities with voice. And also, like I said, home security is something we're looking at. We think it's pretty interesting as a service. So, and yeah, I think some of the services around this, our basic services will be free, but we think there are interesting paid services, and everyone is used to paying for home security. We're looking at what can we do that is better and differentiated for like a proper monitored home security. We think that's going to be a big thing for us next year.
Very good. Very good. That'd be a really good thing to disrupt the big security market.
Yeah.
Ram, thanks so much for coming on the show and taking your time to talk to us on Home Tech here. If one of our listeners wants to find out more, where would they go to find out more about the Almond?
Yeah, go to www.securifi.com to get more information on products, compatible devices, and all that.
Very good, Ram, and I'll echo what Seth said. We really appreciate you coming on. If any of our listeners wanted to maybe connect with you personally to reach out and ask a follow-up question or two, what would be the best way for them to do that?
I guess they can email me. My email address is rm@securifi.com.
Okay, great. Well, really appreciate you coming on, and we'll look forward to seeing what you guys can do in the future.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason. Thanks, Seth. Thanks for having me on the show.
You got it. Take care, Ram.
All right. Thank you, guys.